When the lights die, civilization shrinks to a whisper. Every sound becomes sharper, a footstep in the hallway, the hum of distant traffic fading into silence. In those first few seconds, denial kicks in. You wait for the lights to blink back to life. But they don't. And when you realize it's not a small outage, that's when the instinct to survive kicks in. Because when the grid goes down, everything that makes city life possible, heat, water, communication, food, vanishes. The only thing left is what you already have, what you already know, and what you've already prepared. So if you're serious about surviving the collapse when it comes, stay right here, subscribe now, and absorb this entire breakdown. Today, we're not just listing 7 tools that work without electricity. We're teaching how they function, how to maintain them, and how to make them a sustainable survival system. This isn't for adventurers. It's for urban survivors who refuse to go down with the grid. Let's begin with heat, the first and most vital line of defense. The body can handle hunger and even thirst longer than it can handle cold. At around 10 degrees Celsius, 50 degrees, hypothermia starts its silent work, especially when humidity kicks in and you're indoors, immobile, underdressed, or exhausted. During the 2021 Texas freeze, entire families froze in their homes because their central heating systems depended solely on grid power and smart thermostats. They had gas lines, yes, but automatic valves shut down when electricity cut out. That's why the first category every prepper must master is manual heat generation, especially inside confined urban spaces. Kerosene heaters are old-fashioned but reliable. They produce radiant and convective heat, operating on simple wicks that draw fuel from a reservoir. If you choose this route, go for dual-wick models with safety shutoff valves. Store kerosene in blue certified containers, never red. Red is for gasoline, and mixing up fuel colors can be fatal. Keep them outside your living space, ideally in a metal shed or balcony box, and rotate fuel every 3 to 6 months to prevent water condensation and microbial growth. Before each use, trim and dry your wick to reduce smoke. 1 gallon of kerosene can last 8 hours on medium output. That's 1 night of warmth in the dead of winter. Now, if you live in an apartment and kerosene isn't an option, slide toward alcohol stoves and small catalytic heaters. Denatured alcohol burns cleaner, and unlike propane, it doesn't create lethal carbon monoxide at low flame. Models like the Trangia or any sealed alcohol burner fit perfectly indoors, provided you keep a small window cracked for airflow. Never improvise a heater out of open containers. Vapor buildup can explode. Keep reflective material behind the stove, even aluminum foil, to direct heat back toward your body or the center of the room instead of losing it to walls. Layer survival blankets behind furniture to create microheating zones, small pockets that trap warmth. And if you have none of these tools yet, start with the basics. Thick clothing layers, sleeping bags rated under 0 degrees, and a plan to reduce the space you heat. 1 room, sealed, manageable, sustainable. Efficiency saves fuel, fuel saves lives. Water comes next. It doesn't just sustain you, it preserves your ability to think, move, and plan. In a blackout, city water supplies rely on electric pumps. The moment they fail, pressure drops. Within 24 hours, the tap dries, and what's left in building tanks turns stale fast. Without clean water, dehydration and disease take over. That's where manual water filtration and purification systems cut in. Most homes store bottled water, but never think about how to replace it. 2 gallons per person per day is the baseline. You can survive with less, but not for long. The Smart Prepper sets up layered defenses: storage, filtration, purification, and rotation. Start with storage. Use food-grade, BPA-free containers, the blue ones made for long-term water use, not random plastic jugs that leach chemicals. Keep them in dark, cool places below 25 degrees Celsius to slow bacterial growth. Label every container with the date filled and rotate every 6 months. Then filtration. Ceramic filters and gravity-fed purifiers remain king for static setups. Brands like Katahdin or Berkey for long-term use, Sawyer for portability. The principle is simple physics. Gravity pushes contaminated water through porous ceramic or hollow fiber membranes where particulates and microbes get trapped. You don't need power. just time and gravity. But filtration alone isn't complete. Add purification. Chlorine dioxide tablets, iodine drops, or even boiling, if you have heat, ensure chemical and microbial safety. Here's a technique: double purify. Filter the water to remove debris and sediment, then purify chemically to kill what you can't see. If you lack those, use simple bleach with 8% sodium hypochlorite, 2 drops per liter, mix, and wait 30 minutes. Do not use scented or color-safe bleach. Those additives are poisonous. Keep 2 small droppers, 1 for bleach, 1 for iodine, part of your regular kit. In long blackouts, when water trucks or bottled supplies vanish, the prepper with a gravity filter outlasts everyone. Next, we deal with light. Darkness isn't just absence of visibility, it disrupts everything: hygiene, safety, emotion, communication. People underestimate how mentally disorienting it is to live in pitch black after nightfall. Panic starts where perception ends. So the third essential tool is manual or mechanical lighting. Forget electric grid lights or disposable flashlights that die in 6 hours. You need renewable hand-powered systems. A quality crank flashlight multiplies a minute of effort into hours of light. Choose models with solid cranks, sealed bearings, and no flimsy USB inputs that corrode. The best options include lanterns with dual output, flood and focus, and detachable diffusers. If possible, pair them with rechargeable AA batteries and a solar charger as a bridge between manual and renewable energy. That hybrid setup lets you adapt. When there's light outside, harvest. When not, you crank. There's also the misunderstood art of light management. Instead of scattering light across your entire space, aim it strategically. Reflect light off white walls, mirrors, or aluminum foil to multiply brightness. A single crank lantern aimed properly can illuminate an entire room without wasting energy. Use headlamps for hands-free operations. It's the closest you'll get to multitasking in the dark. Store backup candles and oil lamps, but always fireproof the area. Place them inside jars or lantern covers, never unprotected near flammable materials, and never fall asleep with an open flame. Hundreds of house fires after the 2003 blackout came from that one mistake. Food now becomes your next priority. Power cuts take down freezers immediately, and even refrigerators lose thermal integrity after 4 hours. Meat, dairy, eggs, gone. But if you know how to preserve, convert, and cook manually, nothing goes to waste. The fourth tool is non-electric cooking gear. There are 3 tiers: small tabletop burners, butane or alcohol, mid-sized camping stoves, and self-assembling biomass rocket stoves. Butane stoves are perfect for controlled indoor cooking. Just remember, each cartridge lasts roughly 2 hours on medium flame. Store them away from heat sources and rotate every couple of years, checking for rust or valve leaks. Alcohol stoves are your compact option. They run on denatured alcohol, which also doubles as disinfectant. Rocket stoves, though bulkier, are invaluable. They use twigs, cardboard, sawdust, even dried food scraps, producing high heat with low smoke. In cities, that means you can cook discreetly even when gas systems fail. Pair your stove with heat-resistant cookware. Avoid Teflon. It emits toxic fumes at high heat. Stainless steel or cast iron survive anything. And integrate your stove setup into your broader survival system. The excess heat you generate during cooking can warm your small shelter zone. Position reflective sheets around the cooking area to retain warmth without spreading smoke. Practice efficiency. Plan what meals to cook before power fails. Shelf-stable foods like rice, beans, pasta, or canned vegetables require little water, less time, and no refrigeration. Always store spices too. Morale matters. Flavor turns survival into endurance. We move to the fifth essential tool: non-electric communication, the hand crank or solar emergency radio. In a silent city, this is your only window to the truth. It's how you know whether you're facing a localized blackout or a national grid collapse. Choose radios that have AM, FM, and NOA bands, plus shortwave capability if possible. Hand crank models generate power mechanically. 1 minute of winding gives you about 15 minutes of reception. Solar-assisted radios extend that runtime almost indefinitely if you place them on windows or balconies during the day. Maintenance is minimal. Keep the internal battery charged every few months and store in a dry, temperature-stable place. Avoid models that rely on built-in lithium cells only. Those degrade within 2 years. If you can, pick one with replaceable cells like the 18650 type. You can recharge or swap them. Understand frequency scanning. When the grid goes down, official broadcasters switch to emergency repeaters or lower frequencies to save energy. Knowing how to tune manually becomes priceless. Keep a printed frequency chart nearby because you won't have Google to check. Also, radios often double as crank-powered chargers. Use that output wisely for priority devices only, like walkie-talkies or flashlights, not phones for entertainment. Remember, communication is survival. Missing one emergency broadcast could mean missing an evacuation order or a contaminated water alert. A $30 radio becomes your lifeline. Now, tool number 6. It's your force multiplier, manual hand tools. Electricity made us forget how powerful our own hands can be. Power drills, circular saws, grinders, all useless once the sockets go dead. But when you hold a wrench or a saw that needs only muscle, you're holding continuity. A serious urban prepper's manual kit should include a solid hammer, Phillips and flat screwdrivers, adjustable wrench, pliers with wire cutters, a handsaw, a hacksaw for metal, a brace and bit manual drill, utility knives, and a small crowbar. You're not just collecting them to fix furniture. You'll need them to reinforce windows, dismantle locked cabinets hiding clean water, fix leaks, or build improvised ventilation holes in sealed rooms. Each tool's function overlaps with another system. Survival isn't consuming resources, it's repurposing them. Quality matters. Go for forged steel, not chrome-plated dollar store pieces that crack under pressure. Buy once, maintain forever. Store them in oiled cloth wraps instead of plastic boxes that trap moisture. Wipe metal parts with light machine oil or even vegetable oil every few months to prevent rust. Keep handles sealed with linseed oil if they're wooden. It prevents splintering. Maintenance equals longevity, and longevity equals certainty. Practice using them before the disaster. Manual drilling takes skill. Learn how to create pilot holes and control torque with your body weight. Practice sawing in uniform motions rather than brute force. Efficiency comes from rhythm, not speed. The quieter your work, the safer you remain in tense environments. Finally, the 7th tool, the most understated yet perhaps the most essential during prolonged crises, mechanical and analog timekeeping instruments. We take time for granted until it disappears. Our entire circadian rhythm relies on light, screens, and notifications. Remove that, and your body drifts aimlessly. When day and night blur, fatigue and confusion follow. That's why mechanical watches, wind-up alarm clocks, barometers, and analog thermometers form the mental anchor of urban survival. Start with a reliable field watch, mechanical or automatic, shock-resistant and luminous so you can see it in darkness. Wind it daily at the same time to maintain rhythm and accuracy. That single ritual helps regulate your routine when everything else feels lost. Pair it with a wall-mounted mechanical clock to keep track of shared time in your shelter. If multiple people live together, synchronize clocks daily. It prevents miscommunication in schedules like meals, guard shifts, or fuel rationing. A simple analog thermometer tells you when to ventilate or seal spaces. Fluctuations warn of rot or mold. Keep a barometer too. Sudden pressure drops can predict storms, which means time to reinforce windows or move supplies. Measurement turns chance into control. When technology dies, you rely on instruments powered by physics, not electricity. These 7 tools form a complete mechanical ecosystem. But none of them matter if you don't maintain, organize, and test them. Every 3 months, run a blackout drill in your home. Turn off the main breaker for 24 hours and live purely on these devices. You'll immediately spot weaknesses, missing parts, insufficient fuel, or lack of skill. Maybe you'll find your crank lantern rubber sticks. Maybe your fuel smells sour or your filter clogged. Maintenance cycles must become routine, not reaction. Clean, refill, rotate, and document. Preparedness isn't hoarding, it's managing. Storage also deserves its own plan. Never scatter survival tools across random drawers. Create modules. 1 crate for heating and cooking, 1 for water systems, 1 for light and communication. One for tools and timekeeping. Label everything. Waterproof sensitive items with Ziploc bags or dry boxes. Your future self, standing in the dark, will thank you when you reach for a crank and find it instantly instead of digging through chaos. And don't forget redundancy. 2 of each vital component is the rule. 1 in use, 1 backup. Fuel, filters, batteries, replacement parts. Treat them like consumables. In long-term outages, spares become currency. People trade not just food, but functionality. A spare filter cartridge or extra hand crank radio can mean alliances, bartering power, or goodwill in desperate neighborhoods. We've covered the tools, now understand their philosophy. They all share one principle: energy independence through manual control. When everything electronic dies, these represent the remaining interface between you and the world. They convert muscle, motion, or gravity into results. Every turn of a crank, every rotation of a dial, every stroke of a saw is freedom from dependency. The grid rewards convenience, nature rewards discipline. Each act of physical effort becomes an act of survival. History proves it. During the 1977 New York blackout, the city descended into chaos. Looting, arson, total system failure. Decades later, the 2003 and 2012 blackouts showed the same pattern: silence, panic, disinformation, crime. Yet reports consistently show that those with manual backup tools, radios, heaters, lanterns, and water filters, endured calmly. They didn't wait for the grid to return, they worked around it. The most advanced civilization still collapses into the simplest needs: warmth, light, communication, hydration, structure. The 7 tools restore them, one function at a time. Your mission as an urban survivor is to integrate them, not just store them. Every month, practice using one tool until it feels natural. Cook at least once with your off-grid stove. Fill and filter water manually. Listen to your emergency radio weekly. Replace batteries and oil tools quarterly. Teach your household the same steps, because preparedness dies when it's limited to a single person. Redundancy in skills is just as crucial as redundancy in gear. When others know what to do, you remove panic and multiply effectiveness. And remember, small improvements multiply your results. Store reflective mylar blankets near heat sources to trap air convection. Keep plastic bins under sinks to collect runoff water when supply drops. Hang mirrors to distribute crank lantern light more efficiently. Compactness, creativity, efficiency. That's urban survival strategy. You're not in the wild. You don't have acres of space or open fires. What you have is limited air, small rooms, and proximity risks. Mastering your confined environment means mastering survival itself. We live in a fragile age. Our homes depend on electrons we can't see and systems we don't control. Every switch you flip hides a vast chain of failure points: a power plant, a transformer, a substation, a local line, a breaker. When even one fractures, dependence reveals its cost. Preparedness isn't pessimism, it's realism. Because the modern grid fails faster than you think. All it takes is a cyber attack, a heat wave, a solar flare, or political sabotage. When that happens, everything you expect others to provide will stop. But you won't stop, not if you've built your foundation. 7 tools, 7 guarantees that you remain functional when the city falls silent. Heat your space manually. Filter your water carefully. Light your surroundings responsibly. Cook your food efficiently. Hear the world through mechanical airwaves. Repair your environment with real tools. Track your time and adjust your strategy with precision. That's not a shopping list. That's a survival doctrine. Don't just listen. Act. Start assembling your kit piece by piece. Share this with someone still trusting the grid to protect them. Like, comment, and subscribe if you're building resilience instead of excuses. And when you're ready to go deeper, the pinned comment will lead you to detailed guides, documents, and step-by-step blueprints for every system we discussed. Everything from homemade filters to long-term fuel preservation. Knowledge means control, and control means survival. The grid may fail, but your preparation doesn't have to. Keep learning, keep building, and remember, when the city goes dark, the ones who stay calm and prepared aren't lucky, They're ready.